Hello, and welcome back to MoJo JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the one and only Powerpuff Girls / JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast. I'm Raven.
And I'm Alison.
This week we're going to be discussing the JoJo Stardust Crusaders episodes Wheel of Fortune and Justice Part 1. But before we start talking about the show, I'd just like to ask that if you haven't already, to, leave us a review or a comment about the podcast. We could really use the feedback, and we'd also love to help get the pod pushed out there so more people can see it.
Depending on where you're catching us, you can maybe even leave a rating, and don't forget to subscribe.
Yes.
And we also have another podcast, What We Pod in the Shadows, where we're discussing what we do in the shadows. And we just started season 2. So if you want to watch us or listen to us discuss a comedy about vampires, that would be a good one to listen to.
So I'm not sure exactly when these came out. So I don't know if this is quite new news. But Killstar has these Powerpuff Girls plushies where they've kind of gothed up the girls, and also there's him and MoJo as well. They look about like their standard form. They are kind of expensive though. They're like $45 a plush.
Wow.
Otherwise, I'd be like, ooh, I shall get all 5 of them.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like $20 is too much. Like, for a small plush, I'm like,
yeah,
what are you guys thinking? But
see if it says, like, how big are they? Because I have that saved just in case it, like, comes on sale or something.
Did you post that on the... Did I see those the other day?
Yes, I posted them on the page.
Okay, I kind of thought so.
Looks like they're 12.5 inches tall, so I guess that's not completely horrible. They just look kind of smallish in the picture. I'm looking at the Buttercup one right now.
Yeah, 40 is a little... I mean, I guess if you just got one, like maybe your favorite, but
yeah,
it's a little high.
Yeah, I would maybe consider getting the Buttercup one since she's my favorite, but I'm still like, that's a lot for a plushie that's not like, say custom one or you get from Build-A-Bear or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, are we ready to jump into Wheel of Fortune?
Yes, I am ready to start talking about the episode. JoJo and Co. are on the road from India to Pakistan. Joseph admits to having mixed feelings about India initially, but says he will miss the hustle and bustle of Calcutta and the chaos of the Ganges. Polnareff says he will have to come back someday to give Avdol a proper funeral, and they all go quiet. His car comes up in front of them and starts kicking up dust, and Polnareff bumps into it to get ahead of it. Joseph scolds him, saying Polnareff might have hurt the poor car. He says they don't need more trouble now because he's wanted in India because of what happened to the doctor in Varanasi. Polnareff breaks abruptly, and they scold him for potentially causing a crash, but Polnareff had in fact seen Anne ahead of them on the road hitchhiking. She greets them and asks if they have room for one more. Anne says she'd look pathetic traveling around the world as a teenager into girly things, so she wants to do that now. She apologizes for lying about meeting her father, but doesn't seem that sorry. The car from earlier catches up with him again, and Polnareff lets him go around. The driver goes around them, but drives extremely slowly and kicks up more dust. The windows are so dusty that Polnareff can't see the driver. Then the driver motions them to go ahead of them, and Polnareff eagerly does so, only for their car to almost get hit head-on by a semi-truck. If not for Star Platinum punching them backwards and away from the semi, they would have been dead meat. It is then that they start to think that maybe the driver is one of Dio's stand users. The semi is left wrecked, and they decide to pretend that they never saw it. Anne thinks to herself that Jotaro's so cool and gets all starry-eyed. The evil red car, far ahead of them, sees a sign pointing the way towards Pakistan and bumps into it so it's pointing in the opposite direction. The Joestar crew do not see this and drive in the wrong direction when they get to the sign, leading them to a roadside tea shop. At the tea shop, Joseph sees the red car reflected on his glass of sugarcane juice, and he freaks out. They see a group of 4 guys nearby, and Joseph, Jotaro, and Polnareff decide to beat them up, thinking one of them is the owner of the car. Kakyoin stops them, and the car starts to drive away. None of the 4 guys was the driver. No one sees the driver's face, only his muscular arm. Polnareff decides he wants vengeance against the red car for almost getting them hit by the semi. Polnareff drives after him, and Kakyoin remarks that they should be driving parallel to train tracks according to his map. Polnareff tells him that he doesn't care, that he's going to nail the red car around the curve. But when he drives around said curve, he hits a dead end and they almost slide off the cliffside. They wonder where the red car is when it comes from behind them and starts pushing their car off the edge of the cliff. Polnareff freaks out and tries to abandon their car, but as a driver, he's supposed to stay and hold the brake for everyone else. They fall, but Kakyoin breaks out Hierophant Green and uses it to attach the hook from the car's winch to the front of the red car. Jotaro asks if Kakyoin likes sumo, then uses Star Platinum to push them upwards over the red car, reversing their momentum and making the red car fall over the cliff instead. Kakyoin says he's a fan of sumo, but that in sumo it's against the rules to punch your opponent, to which Jotaro smiles. The red car catches fire below them. Jotaro and Ko watch it burn from the side of the cliff and decide he was just some weirdo, not a stand user, when a voice comes on from their car radio. The voice says that the car is his stand, and Jotaro reminds them of Forever's boat stand, and that this might be a repeat. Suddenly, the cliff beneath the Joestar car shatters, and the cliff on it is hurled upwards, and the red car, Wheel of Fortune, bursts up from underneath it. It's in shitty shape at first, but transforms into a hot rod for their eyes. It shoots something at Jotaro, leaving gaping wounds in his shoulders. Wheel of Fortune taunts him and shoots more of its mysterious stars. Polnareff, Joseph, and Kakyoin jump in the way and are hit instead. They marvel that there's nothing in the wounds, but that they sting like hell. Wheel of Fortune threatens to pulverize their legs, and they race between some boulders. The red car is still able to squeeze into the crevice, however. Anne trips and falls and gives a monologue about being a no-good drifter that nobody loves, when Jotaro grabs her and says that if she had enough time to say all that, she had time to move. And then she's all like, I love you, Jotaro. They climb up higher onto the cliffs, but Wheel keeps on coming. Jotaro wants to take it out and wants to wait for its underside to be exposed to attack it. Wheel taunts them that their bodies reek, and they realize that they were shot with high-speed gasoline pellets earlier, and that Wheel intends to set them ablaze. He says the stand's user says something about giving them a little jolt and sets Jotaro on fire with a spark from the car. They all freak out, but Kakyoin says they're all soaking with gasoline, so they need to stay back. Wheel of Fortune taunts them some more about killing their valiant hero when Jotaro pipes up. He dug a hole in the ground with Star Platinum, so the only thing that burnt up was his school uniform jacket. Jotaro says that he'll offer Wheel of Fortune some guidance, but first he'll have to go through a little pain, and Jotaro pummels the shit out of the side of Wheel of Fortune. The stands user pops out of the car, and Kakyoin comments on his odd body proportions, that he had such big muscular arms, but everything else about him is small. He tries to crawl away, but Polnareff steps on him. The guy says he's just in it for the money, and they all laugh at him. Wheel of Fortune turns into a much smaller, crappier car, and they laugh at the user even more. They chain him upside down on a boulder in the desert and leave a wooden sign next to him. I think on Wikipedia it said that the sign said that he's training and to leave him alone.
Oh.
They decide to take the user's car to Pakistan. Jotaro says Anne needs to go home on the next plane to Hong Kong. Anne protests, but Polnareff calls her a little brat and says she's just getting in the way. As they argue, the crappy little car breaks down. We cut to Inyava sobbing about her assassins being defeated. She's too ashamed to face Dio, so she decides to go after the Joestar crew herself with her stand justice. To be continued.
So I guess, Whole Horse they didn't kill, and this guy is still alive too.
Yeah.
But the other ones were killed, right?
I think so. And I don't think we actually saw what happened to the Temperance guy, because we kind of I think he ends up just getting pummeled off screen. So yeah, he could be alive too for all we know. Just not in great shape.
I thought the car was gonna end up being alive, like Stephen King's Christine. I guess they sort of brought that up when they said something about the ship stands, that maybe that's what the car was. And then the thing with somehow you burrow into the ground and then burst back out, that's been used a bunch of different times, including twice in this episode.
So many.
I'm just I don't know. It looks like he died, but no, he just buried. I don't know that you could hide that. Maybe if it was from a distance, but they were right there.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like when they get to that tea stand, like Gramps just always like loses his crap and just starts yelling at answers out of them about the red car driver. And it's like, it's not like it was a huge area for him to yell. He's always like freaking out.
He does not have an inside voice whatsoever.
And then I don't know if I buy them getting shot by gasoline and them not immediately noticing that they smell like gasoline.
Yeah, it has a very distinctive, very sharp smell.
I mean, I get like they were in the middle of a fight or a chase or whatever, but you breathe constantly, so it's like they end up taking that convertible, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like I would ditch that car. I mean, I think they have to take it because their car's messed up, right? But I think I would ditch that immediately.
Yeah, I mean, in the next episode, they do have a different vehicle. It's like more like a Jeep or something.
I guess I don't know, I always say this, I don't have anything else to say. And then I think of something else to say. Just that, like, they didn't immediately think that the car and the driver was the next stand user. They kind of were thinking maybe it was just like, some dude with road rage, I guess. But
yeah. Hell, if I were them, I just assume anyone who was mean to me on this trip was an evil stand user.
I mean, they need to just... I don't think they've packed supplies. I don't think I would be stopping at the tea stand because, like, they need to stay away from people.
Yeah.
They don't know who is, like, going to hurt them. I understand they have to, like, stop places. It'd probably almost be better if they were, like, in a camper or, like, a van and they could just sleep in it. I know they're, like, big dudes. Or, like, go get some camping supplies, go get some food, and just pull over at night and then keep going the next day. But I do understand they're going through multiple countries, and I'm not even sure, like, when this occurred, like, how easy it would be to just cross borders in a car. I know, like, there's not maybe necessarily going to be realism, but...
Yeah, I'm also not sure how things were exactly in, like, 87 either, so I don't know.
Especially with Gramps kind of being wanted and stuff, you would think... Yeah. When they try to cross the border that someone wasn't like checking vehicles or something. I don't know.
So my trivia for this episode. So Wheel of Fortune's stand user apparently is named ZZ, of course after ZZ Top.
Okay, so we never did learn his name, but...
Yeah, it's just like, it's one of those things where I guess he got like named later on or something. But Arnaki's like, yep, I named him ZZ. And then the Wheel of Fortune in tarot symbolizes luck, change, karma, and destiny. The wheel shows that opportunity is abundant. All things have a cycle, good and bad. But it's also kind of like the what comes around goes around card. The Ethereal Visions deck that I have shows a green hooded person carrying a wheel with the symbol for like some zodiacs on it. And then behind them are the side profiles of a woman, a bull, a lion, and an eagle.
Okay, so I'm not really sure how that fits that.
Yeah.
We didn't really learn a whole lot about the stand user himself either.
Mm-hmm. Only way in which it really makes sense for that, I feel like, is just because it has wheel in the name and it's a car.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Okay, so I'm discussing Justice Part 1. Jotaro has a seamstress make him a new jacket. Polnareff has to strong-arm Anne while Gramps gentle parents her into going on a plane home. Her part in the story really amounted to nothing, in my opinion. She could have been there or not.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping there would, not that I really like the damsel in distress stuff, but I was kind of hoping like maybe especially Polnareff had to rescue her or something, or like one of the stand users take her hostage, but none of that was like really used. So
yeah, she was just kind of there after the first episode where she was introduced.
I mean, I know she did call Gramps with the I think it was a cable car thing.
Yeah.
And got them over there, but I really think Jotaro kind of got out of that himself anyway.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, she didn't really need to be there. They've made it into Pakistan with Polnareff driving for some reason, and I say that because he just seems like an asshole behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't taken turns or like someone else isn't driving.
Yeah.
It is foggy and they are driving in a rocky area and want to stop at a town down below. So they're kind of like up, I guess, on these cliffs. Polnareff had to carry on about the gross bathrooms in India, and Jotaro thinks he sees a dead dog in the fog. They stop to ask at a restaurant where they can find a place to stay when they realize the town is eerily quiet and deserted. Gramps loudly greets the restaurant owner, and the guy flips over the closed sign and walks away with roaches crawling on his back. Polnareff asks a guy sitting in the street, but realizes he is long dead with a scared look on his face and holding a gun. So, like, the gun was still smoking, but he had, like, lizards crawl out of him already. So
Yeah.
I don't, they're like, he must have just been killed. But to me, it seemed like he'd been dead at least for a little bit.
Right.
If something crawled inside him already. They try to sound the alarm, but no one cares. They get the attention of a lady with oozing sores on her face, but she basically ignores Kakyoin's pleas to call the police. The fog keeps getting thicker and looks like a skull, but it couldn't be the work of another stand user. To me, all that stuff happening, I think I would have just kept driving. I know they wanted to sleep somewhere. I mean, these dudes are so tough. Like, why are they just not, like, sleeping, like, pull off on the side of the road and like, probably 2 of them could sleep in the car and 2 of them could sleep on the ground. Like, they just haven't really made good choices, like, with supplies and stuff.
Yeah, the town was, like, turning into Silent Hill before their eyes, and then they're just like, what will we stay here for the night?
They just don't seem to, they're just so oblivious. Like, they kind of note that weird stuff is happening, but they're like, let's investigate this further. Like, no. They keep examining the dead body and figure he must be a traveler. He has bloodless holes all over his torso. Like, they decide to, like, undress him for some reason. I think that was weird. Like, why do they care?
Yeah.
This man they don't know in a town they never been before. Like, yes, it's alarming that there was, like, potentially a murder, but I just don't. Gramp freaks out and tries to hop into their car, only he tries to hop a metal fence instead and almost impales himself. So it's almost like he had, like, a hallucination, like he thought the car was there, but it wasn't. And Yamba walks towards them in the fog and tells them she has a bed and breakfast. Polnareff declares her a normal person, despite her appearance. I guess compared to everyone else who they've talked to, like, she actually responds like a normal person anyway. I don't think she looks normal at all.
Yeah.
The guys contemplate that the stand user must be nearby while the dead body was being carried away. So, like, I don't think it was the cops, but I'm not really sure. But, like, 3 guys kind of carried away the body.
Yeah.
And Yaba baits them towards her hotel, and she says 007 movie was filmed there 20 years ago, and John Lennon visited, but then she says she's just kidding. She prattles on about dinner when Jotaro interrupts that she called him Joestar, and her bulgy eyes bulge a little more. She says that Polnareff called him Mr. Joestar, and that's where she heard it. And I'm not sure if that occurred or not, but they just kind of have to believe her.
Yeah.
Polnareff inquires about her bandaged hand and flirts with her, and I wrote the word vomit. She laughs, but in her head, she plots his death because he's the one responsible for her son's death. Like, she said some awful shit, like cutting off his dick and stuff. Like, it was...
Yeah.
I don't know, like...
She hates him just that much.
I get, like, maybe torturing someone, but it's not like Polnareff, like, raped her son or something. I'm not sure why she wants to rip his dick off.
Yeah.
They check in and check out their rooms. Gramps is upset the TV doesn't work because he can't use Hermit Purple's spying abilities. I suspect she disabled all the TVs. Polnareff goes looking for a bathroom and they talk about how they should be on guard. I'm not sure, like, they let him wander off and they're just like, Polnareff's so nonchalant. Like, he's really worried about the bathrooms though, because, like, that whole pig thing, and I don't know, he didn't like the bathrooms in India. Whole Horse shows up to Inyaba's astonishment. He says he tracked the Joestar group there, and she turns on the waterworks. He pretends to have been super friendly with Centerfold, so she stabs him with scissors. She calls forth her stand, and fog from the stand enters the wound, and she is able to control him, I guess, like a puppet. He calls forth his gun stand, and then she's able to turn it to face him, and he shoots himself in the head or face. The Joestar group hear the noise and spread out to investigate while Inyaba lies in wait. And her stand's name is Justice. Which, again, maybe it is, like you said, like kind of like the opposite of what the tarot cards say. Because she, I don't know, her son was totally not a good person.
Yeah, she's just like a weird boy mom about him for some reason. He's the worst.
He wasn't attractive, which I get that doesn't matter to a mom, but like he was just like a child predator type person. And then even like with Whole Horse, like he came and he was kind of willing to like help her, you think?
Yeah.
Like I don't think he was expecting to see her, but he was still trying to go after them. But it wasn't his fault that I still hate his name, Centerfold.
Yeah.
That Centerfold died the way he did because he like left Whole Horse behind and kind of jumped ahead on the reflections and stuff. Whole Horse didn't know where he went. Like they were supposed to team up and he just left him because I think he just thought he was invincible because his stand moved through the reflections and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he was supposed to be kind of like unbeatable, but so I mean, Whole Horse kind of seemed like a Gaston type of person.
Yeah, yes.
Like a big blustery. But I mean, we don't really know too much about him other than just kind of like fooling the ladies. So I don't know. She's just kind of a piece of work. And Yaba.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that Gramps is like when he uses his stand that it breaks shit. Like he can't just use a camera again and again. I feel like they could have maybe checked the other rooms to see if there was like a working TV or
yeah.
Was he able to use anything else? Use it? Cameras and TVs? What else he could maybe use?
He did use like incense ashes to like make that map.
Yeah. Maybe they can find something else for him to like. I don't really know that it matters. I mean, they're on their way to him and they keep having these stand users catch up with them and stop them. So, I mean, honestly, like Dio, he could just go anywhere. Like they're still trying to just make it to Egypt, but
yeah,
he's staying in place as far as we know, I guess. I think they just need to be more careful. Again, like I said, where they're going, who they're interacting with.
They're always just letting Polnareff wander off and do stupid shit.
Yeah, that stuff was like they wait till after he leaves and they're like, we should stick together. Like, I know it's kind of weird. Like, they're big dudes, but like maybe stay in groups of two.
Yeah, use the fucking buddy system. Like, come on. Every
time one of them kind of wanders off, that's when something happens. The stand user tries to pick them off one by one. They probably need to like just get the fuck out of that hotel.
Yeah.
And not try to investigate. I know they haven't suspected Inyaba as being a stand user, but I might even suspect that hotel. And like, how did she get there so quick and like take over this hotel? And then is she just like haunting the whole place, or she's put that whole spell over the whole city and the fog and made everyone gross and the man die? Like, what? That power is just kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all her stands, like just special fog powers or whatever.
So you think she's got control of all those people?
I mean, probably, yeah.
She stabbed all of them. I'm wondering if that, I think I meant to write that down, but like, so it seems like she has to put a wound in him.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a weakness there if she has to get that close. So I'm not sure if it works with, or like what she can do with her stand without that, if she doesn't stab them first or whatever.
Yeah. So, I probably could have mentioned this earlier. Inyaba is, of course, named for the singer Enya.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Ooh. Oh, those tranquil music. And
tranquil Lord of the Rings music. And then, of course, her stand is justice, and in tarot, that symbolizes truth, fairness, equality, and balance. It tells you that you'll get what's coming to you, good or bad. It reveals that an outcome will be determined by the decisions you have made. It is a reminder that future actions can be changed by the lessons you learn in the present. It can also be an indicator of a decision that needs to be made. I mean, it's kind of similar to the Wheel of Fortune in a way.
Maybe that's how she feels.
Yeah.
That she's gonna bring justice, but I feel like she's kind of got a twisted version of reality, so.
Yeah. She thinks Centerfold was like the greatest son that ever sunned.
And then she's all up Dio's butt, too, and thinks he's the greatest, so, yeah.
It's like, what if this crazy boy mom was also a witch and she wanted to murder people?
Yeah. So the next episodes are Justice Part 2 and then The Lovers Part 1. So, I mean, obviously there's more stand users. So I don't know if, like, Dio is able to round up some more people or what's going on there. Does he have, like, some sort of stand locator? I would think it's almost like John Wick.
Yeah.
Where they put out like a reward, but why do these people even want to try if they're just knocking them out? I mean, I know like Avdol was killed, but so far they've fairly easily been able to defeat them.
Yeah. It might take them a little bit to figure out how their stand works, but then after that, they usually give them quite the ass whooping or kill them or both.
So it's like finding stand users who are also evil and think they can beat these guys up. I feel like that's like a small group of people in the world.
And yet Dio's found them all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is ever like explained how Dio was finding these people. I kind of assumed maybe it had to do with Inyaba. Like, maybe she has, like, some sort of, like, divinatory skills. Or, like, maybe in the same way Avdol does. Maybe that's how they find them. Like, it'll be like, Inyaba, go fetch me a new stand user. She'll be like, right away, Lord Dio.
Well, because, like, the one guy kind of was making fun of them. That they keep showing their stands to everybody because most people are secretive about their stands, so that kind of also makes it like, how are they being found? Because I guess I would see how, like, if you did figure out that you had a stand, that maybe you would keep that secret.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping they don't let Polnareff drive anymore. He's driving me nuts.
Yeah, I feel like of this group, I probably only trust Kakyoin to drive. Joseph gets into too many wrecks. I know it's mainly plane wrecks, but come on. I don't know that I trust Jotaro just in general. So yeah, Kakyoin it is.
I'm just not sure why they're not taking turns. And then after his thing with that Wheel of Fortune, or is that what it was?
Yes, the Wheel of Fortune.
I feel stupid saying it. The Wheel of Fortune guy, that they would have had someone else at the wheel at least for a while.
One would think.
Because it's kind of like similar roads that they're driving through, where they're narrow and there's cliffs and I would think Gramps would wanna. He seems a little like a control freak that he would wanna drive.
He's fine being a passenger princess.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he would be a passenger princess though.
Yeah.
He seems like he'd be like, okay, we're pulling over and I'm taking over. So yeah, I feel like, again, they're going to separate in this hotel and then she's going to try to take them out.
Clearly these guys have never played Dungeons and Dragons because you don't fucking split the party.
They even, again, like, because Polnareff was separated from them because he was looking for the bathroom, that they're in two groups now and he's downstairs already. I'm not sure why the guys were looking around upstairs, but
I thought they said they heard a noise too.
So, I mean, that's not great.
Yeah. Again, they should just have the buddy system going on. Like, so thank you again for listening. I think we're gonna end things here. If you have enjoyed the pod so far, it would be super great if you could hit all those buttons for us. the follow, the subscribe, the like, the comment, review, whatever you have going on whatever platform you're listening to this on. Could really use the feedback, and also, if you send us a review, we might read it on the show.
Yeah, and this pod, we've got some social media presence, so you can check us out on like Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky.
Yeah.
And then
those should all be linked in the episode description.
Don't forget the What We Pod in the Shadows if you'd like to listen to us talk about what we do in the shadows.
Yes, if you'd enjoy a silly vampire comedy. So until next time, I'll be the roundabout. Goodbye.
Goodbye.